good day to everyone. I think first of all, I would like to congratulate all of you for reaching this far. All right, so I think I would like to congratulate you guys being one of the finalists for our YIC Young Inventors Challenge 2023. All right. So today I'm Dr. Lee here, who is the appointed Deputy Chief Judge for this YIC 2023. Would like to give you a briefing on basically the judging criteria for the next stage, which involves the invention pitch video and also the project report writing. All right, so let's move on. So hopefully by the end of this session, all right, you should be able, you and your team basically should be able to understand the scoring mechanism for the invention pitch video, all right? And you should also be able to understand at the end of this session, the scoring mechanism of the report writing, all right? And finally, it's very important for you and your team to understand the submission process and also the submission deadline. Okay, so basically, there will be two components, all right, for this scoring allocation, all right? Being one of the finalists, so you need to submit an invention pitch video, which will make up 80% of the total score. And next is actually the other 20% will another 20% will be contributed by your report writing. So the next few slides, I will be sharing with you the criteria of how the judges, okay, me and my team, how we actually come up with the judging criteria, and also things, some important points that you need to take note of, basically. All right. So both the invention pitch video and the report writing will constitute 100% of the final score. All right. So we will start off with the scoring judging criteria for the invention pitch video first. So basically, a major component will be the invention and innovation. All right. So we would like to know how creative is your idea, how innovative is your idea. So that will give you a 50%. 20% of it will go into the quality of the production of the video. All right. And last but not least, the final 30%, you'll be judged on your presentation during the final Viva session, where you actually pitch your video. All right. So do take note that this scoring is just a representative and is subjected to change. All right. So there will be a 50% out of the 50% for the invention and innovation criteria. All right. So 10% of it will be on the introduction. So you'll be judged on the introduction. All right. So the introduction component includes the description of the team. So you need to share with us, your team members, which school or institution are you from, all right? And you should also share with us your problem statement, all right? So make sure you actually share with us your problem statement. What are you trying to solve, basically? What your innovation, your invention is trying to solve. I think you need to, make it clear to us. What about the relevance to the team? As you know, the team is actually SDG. Hope by now you should know what is SDG stands for, Sustainable Development Goals, 17 of them. So you must be able to link, all right, basically link your invention with some of the SDGs that can be found, all right? And next will be to give us some description of your innovation. And lastly, you also be judged on the originality of the innovation. So how original is the idea? All right, that will be judged as well. All right. Okay, so I'll go into the specific components. Like for example, you have this under the invention and innovation criteria. So one of these is actually the adaptation of scientific concepts in the in your innovation and invention. So this adaptation and adaptation and adoption of scientific concepts basically refers to how you justify your scientific problem, all right, or the scientific issue behind it. How your invention, you must also tell us, or you must also present to us how the invention or your innovation is the learning of at least one scientific concept. I'm sure you have learned many scientific concepts. I mean, during high school, all right. During your school years, you know. So try to relate it with some of that you have learned in school, all right. You try to link it with the invention. And the next, it will be try to tell us the approach that you and your team use in the invention or your innovation must be unique. It must be novel. It must be something new that has not been created or invented by others, right? It must be new, okay, innovative, unique. And you must also present to us how different is it when compared to the existing solutions in solving the problem identified. And lastly, an important component is actually the ethics. So you must also make sure that you include reliable acknowledgement and references, all right? Where do you pick the diagram from, the picture from, some facts, all right? Where do you actually get the facts from? So it must be shown to us in the form of references, or also you must be able to acknowledge them, okay? Because we do not want to just take other people's idea without acknowledging them, all right? So next one is actually another 10% will be the methodology, all right? Another 10% will be methodology. So the methodology that you use in the production of your video, invention, your invention video, innovation video, includes number one, the thought process in identifying the materials that are being used. So you must be able to explain how do you actually identify the materials to be used for your invention, right? Number two, practicality of the material usage in terms of cost, safety, and scalability. So you must be able to show and tell us, and come up with the costing. Okay, how safe is your material use, and is it scale? I mean, how scalable is it? No, especially when we talk about if you plan to commercialize your invention, it's cost effective. All right. I mean, if you produce it in a large quantity, is it scalable? All right. Next one is you must be able to a user. If let's say if I were to adopt your invention, if I were to buy your product, okay, put yourselves into the user's shoes, all right, and whether we can actually safely assemble or produce the invention or the innovation with minimal or without the supervision of an expert. So your invention must be something that is easy to use. So when others would like to use it, all right, and we don't need much help. So everything is clear. It's easy to use, it's clear. So we do not need an expert to be with us all the time. Okay, so this will be judged as well. All right, this will be taken into account and one of the judging criteria. All right, next 10% is actually on the impact. All right, so the invention and innovation impacts in terms of number one, is it economically viable to address all levels of society? So the invention I create cannot just address something that and that is what we call that. Address one level of society. So it must be general enough to be used, okay, and by all levels of society, okay. And it can be handled with minimal or without the supervision of an instructor, as I mentioned in my previous slide. Your invention must have the capability of being a catalyst for more invention, right? If your invention is can be something that others can use it and then to create more what they call it, inventions, and more creative, more innovative ideas, and that is something that we are looking for as well. It must be made from environmentally friendly materials, so it must be something that is possible, recyclable or recycle materials. You know, it must not be something that is too expensive and things like that, huh? and it must has the potential to address a global need. So you must basically link to the SDG lah. Basically, all the SDGs are actually addressing something that is of a global scale. You see, all right. And another 10% will be on the session on commercialization and entrepreneurship potential. So your invention, your innovation must be able to meet the target or the target market. All right. So you must give an overview so that you must show us that you understand your target market or your market segment. Competition. So you must be able to show us that you can understand and provide the market barriers, your competitors, what are the alternatives that are available in the market out there. So how your invention stands out among your competitors. Okay, so please address that in your video. Project costing. So you must be able to show us that you understand the importance of managing project costing. Business model, you must be able to show us that you understand the importance of revenues and the ability to show production of profit. So in short, show you here, profit is actually basically your revenue minus your cost. All right, whatever you've spent, okay, revenue, okay, I mean your revenue, whatever you have obtained, all right, including your sales or whatsoever, minus the cost, all right, which is something that you spend on getting your materials, the expertise and things like that, and then you will get your profit, all right. And finally, it's the readiness of your prototype. All right, I'm sure you will show us your prototype. So the prototype must not require major changes for commercialization purposes. All right. Okay, next one, we look at the quality of production, which constitutes 20%. All right, so there'll be a 5% of it will be on the time and duration of the video, basically. So the video that you send us, create, must be of a duration of within 5 minutes. Okay, some of you might ask, might doubt whether can you exceed, can you do way below the time frame? I think it's basically it's more or less like plus minus 30 seconds, we'll say. So if you exceed 30 seconds, it's still fine, or if it's do not exceed too much, basically. Okay, so keep it within 5 minutes. All right. Language, of course, obviously it should be in English so that all of us can understand. Your team members should be between 2 to 5 person. All right. You should also show us an appropriate title of your invention. All right. And it will be good if you can actually introduce your team members or your institution. There's also give some credits to those who have assisted you, especially your mentors. All right. Okay, another 5% will be on the audio quality. So the video that you created should be what they call that. Should make sure you have some sound effects or music so that it do not sound so dull. All right. Make sure that it is audible. Okay, volume of speaker when you speak. All right, when the participants speak. When the team members actually speak on the during the recording, make sure it is audible and make sure we can listen. Make sure it's clear. Okay. Previously, I think we have received some videos who we can't actually listen to some of the team members' voice because they are too soft. Right. Try to avoid that. Make sure you speak fluently and also with accurate, of course. Whatever what they call that terms that you mentioned, it must be accurate as well. And make sure that we also look at some of the appropriateness of your language use as well. All right, make sure it is the jargons. Do not put in too much jargons. Make sure that it is easily understood by everyone, because not all the judges are of specific expertise that your project. What they call that. Not all the judges have expertise in your project, so you must be able to explain in layman terms so that the judges can understand, basically. All right. Visual quality, so another 5% of it. All right. So the video must actually make sure that you have nice graphic, nice animation with it. All right. The color scheme, the background color. Okay. Do you want to put very fancy colors? All right. Or do you want to put a more presentable kind of background? Okay. Text and font must be able to, it must be shown clearly so that we can read and the judges can read. Resolution of video should be good so that when we play it, it's smooth and it's clear. And of course, you might want to show us some of your, some of you might be camera or savvy, you might want to show us some techniques, including exposure or focus of the content. I think that is up to you and your team. Okay, but it will only give you 5%. The other one is the filmmaking or the video production ability and skills. Okay, the video should display following criteria, which is you must give us a storyboard, a video structure, it must be a flow. Okay, when you try to present your storyboard, screenplay must have a clear explanation in terms of dialogue or illustration. Okay, so if you show us something, if you try to illustrate some figures or some diagrams, so make sure you explain, okay, in your video. All right. You must be able to show some creativity as well so that you are able to attract the viewers, the audience, in this case, actually, the judges, like the panel of judges. Digital editing, so you must be able to crop, cut, add music, sound effects, some visual effects, like transition, add titles and credits effectively. And lastly, this is important, so you must be able to make sure that you actually take note of the image or video copyright. If you have taken a video or images somewhere, make sure you cite the image or video if you have copied it from the other resources. Okay, so we do not want you to land yourself in hot soup because legal action might be taken if you actually use other people's intellectual property without proper citation. So this is actually a good platform for you to learn how to cite, how to give credit to other people's work. Okay, the last is actually your presentation skills, communication skills, 10%. So your presentation must be a well-articulated storyline. You must fulfill some of the criteria. You must be fluent when you present. You must present yourself in a very confident manner, right? One way is actually to make sure that you have eye contact as well, okay? Clear interpretation of its scientific principles, detailed elaboration of the scientific content, all right? These are the things that we look for. The style of presentation, another 10%. Okay, how do you attract your audience? How do you attract the judges, what they call that, attention? So you might be able to engage with the audience, okay, of course, with some eye contact, creativity in delivering scientific information, and last but not least, display of professionalism in the form of attire, flow, and manner. So make sure you dress appropriately, okay, when you are shooting the video and doing the recording. Technical presentation will constitute another 10%. So your presentation should display the following criteria: explanation with scientific evidence, logical explanation, real-life examples provided. So you must be able to link with the problem statement. So how do you actually come about with your project or your video or your invention? Okay, so is it because that you have actually engaged with some of the people out there, so they have facing some problems, and so you must be able to show us that as well. And last but not least is actually the future recommendation for improvement. So how can you improve? What are the recommendations that you would suggest for further improvement? That is important. Okay, so finally, we'll look at the basically the report writing component. Okay, these are the judging criteria for the report writing component, which will give you another 20%. Okay, the first criteria is the problem statement. It should be short, clear, concise. Okay, we do not want you to keep elaborating on your problem statement, but make sure it is clear. All right. Number 2 is the relevance to the theme. In this case, the theme is actually sustainable development goals. So you must be able to link the idea, your invention, with SDG. All right. Description of invention is purpose and objective. Must be clear, easy to understand. Again, as I mentioned in the video as well, in the report writing, you should be able to demonstrate that you apply some scientific principles that are relevant to the invention. Mention the scientific principles behind your invention and give some brief explanation. All right. Number 5 is basically the originality of the idea, novelty. Okay, is it something new? Okay, is it not done elsewhere? Justification of invention. So you must make sure that it's not copied or plagiarized. It would be great if you can show us some diagram in your report, specification, technicality, detailed diagram figures will help us a lot. Trust me, because the judges have many entries to actually judge. So if you can give us diagrams or figures, that will actually ease our burden, basically. All right. Data and results will well tabulated. Don't just give us full of words. All right. Give us some basically visual aids, I would say. Yeah. And next, you should be able to explain, tell us the benefits of your invention or the innovation benefits of innovation benefits or the innovation stated, and explain well so that we know, oh, what is this for? Okay, what is the problem that this your invention can be able to solve, right? And lastly, last but not least, is basically the conclusion and the future projects. Okay, your invention must be consistent and relates to the problem statement that you have shared. You must be also able to make comparisons with the existing invention that are available. And you could also provide us, furnish us some additional info which supports your invention. Example, scalability or practicality of your invention, all right, or your prototype. Okay, I think this is one of the stress this again. So both your invention pitch video, okay, and your project report. The pitch video should be in a YouTube link, and your project report should be in a PDF format. Should be submitted to this Google Form link, okay. And the deadline that we have set is actually on the 17th of September 2023, 11:59 p.m. So we hope to receive your entries, your videos, and your report by 17th September 2023. So make sure you follow the deadline set so that process will be smooth. The judging process will be smooth, and we are able to select the winners later on. All right. This is the QR code for your invention pitch video and the project report submission. If you'd like to scan the QR code and submit your entries, be fine as well. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening to this short briefing. And again, before I end this session, wish you all the best. Good luck in your submission of your video and also your report. All right, with that, thank you very much. Hope to see you again in the next session. Thank you.